Hello, everybody, and welcome into my latest video. And today is a special, different kind of a video where I am bringing on a guest who's never been on the show before, may never even come.
And welcome into my.
And we're having a little audio echo there. I think it's being corrected. Now, as you are well aware, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I am proudly a Generation Xer, which means I spent by default and by law, I think, a lot of time in the arcades as a teenager in the 1980s. And sometimes people, they come onto the channel and say, Carrie, are you a gamer? I'm the OG. I'm the original gamer. We played real games. And there's a job fixing real games and pinball machines. And this gentleman I'm about to bring on can tell us what all of that entails and give us some insight into that industry. So for the first time, please welcome the president of TNT Amusements, Mr. Todd Tuckey. Hi, Todd.
Hey, guys. Good to see all of you here. And always a pleasure to be asked to do another interview.
Well, you say that now. Well, let's just see how you feel at the end. Now, tell us a little about you. How did you get started in all this? What do you do?
Well, for those of you who are not aware of what I do, I have been in this actual business exclusively since 1979. So this is our 42nd year of selling arcade, pinball machines, video games, jukeboxes, shuffle bowling alleys, skee balls, arcade equipment, real arcade equipment that takes quarters that we remanufacture, restore, and resell. Most of our machines over the years, we started out like pretty much everybody else in this business, putting the games in stores on 25 cents a play to, shall we say, make money while you sleep. And the problem was, back then, of course, that you had to have great accounts, and most of the great accounts were tied up by the big operators. So it was very difficult for a little guy to get in like me. And I was a lot littler than I am now. But
now,
yes.
Let me ask you a question, because when I grew up with home computers, because the arcade, it was 80s, I was a kid,
right?
Very little money. The money went quickly in the arcade. If I could play the games at home, I could save a lot of money. But the games at home sucked. An Atari 2600 version of Pac-Man was not Pac-Man.
No.
And the Pac-Man machine in 1980, I think it was like $5,000 or something. And that's 1980s money. And my parents said,
3,000.
It was 3,000?
Yeah.
Well, might as well have been 3
but
million.
Still 1980 money.
Right. And so my parents would say to me, you need to spend less time on that game and more time going to school and figuring out what you're going to do for a living. Now, this is me as a teenager in 1980s. Now, you started younger than I. So did your parents say, Todd, you need to stop playing around with these games and, get a real job?
Well, I did have a real job. So I had started in the business after I got through college. I was already enmeshed in the movie business with our 16 millimeter film. We sell to collectors and actually had a lot of big accounts too. And the games were a side. It was never supposed to be a permanent job. It was just something I did on the side. And I was an administrator at Temple University for 10 years. I ran the movie theater there and the game rooms. We had 2 game rooms where we operated other companies' equipment. So we staffed the game room with students, college students. And then I did my film business on the side. And then in 79, I decided to buy my own games. Now, I was still familiar with games. When I was 16 years old, I bought my first pinball machine, but it was just for the house, something to tinker with at the house. I kind of figured things out there and fiddled with them and adjusted contacts and sort of got them working, but there were no places to buy parts. Remember, pinball machines and video games were created to make money. They were not created for the collector to have at their house. They were exclusively made to make money. When they stopped making money, they were discarded or converted. They were done. Where now people are seeking out these old classics from many years ago to restore and put in their homes. Games like Spy Hunter and Popeye, they were built for 5 years of commercial use, and then they were supposed to be discarded or destroyed or converted.
They were disposable.
Yes.
So as soon as it stopped making money, it's out of here. Or there were kits, right, that the arcade operated.
Repurposed them. Yes.
You could change. Give me an example. What would be a game you could change to another game that people may not know?
Well, there was a simple conversion. People discovered the edge connector for Pac-Man was identical to Miss Pac-Man. So people would take the Pac-Man game that has the same screen over and over, and they would convert the board, the original Pac-Man board, to run as a Miss Pac-Man by changing the EEPROMs and running jumper wires. It plugged right in. There was no new wiring needed. People were taking Galaxian, which has the exact same wiring harness, and they were converting the Galaxians to Miss Pac-Mans and Pac-Mans by simply putting a 4-way joystick in instead of a left and right, because Galaxian stopped making money. But the edge connector was the same. So Pac-Man was the big one. That was the one everybody had to have in their location. And the guy said, if you don't bring me a Pac-Man, you can take all your stuff and leave and go. So you had to have a Pac-Man. Then other games started to become popular. Donkey Kong, for instance. Everybody wanted a Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong was probably the biggest game that was counterfeits were made. Crazy Kong, Kong Gorilla. They were being made because Nintendo could not manufacture the Donkey Kongs fast enough. The demand was so high, and people said, you better bring me a Donkey Kong. Well, you showed up there with a Crazy Kong, and somebody literally built in their garage, bought a harness, power supply, monitor, joystick, and boom, they even built the cabinets. Yeah. Or you converted a black and white game, one of the many Midway black and white games. It looked funky, but you made it into a Donkey Kong. They didn't care as long as it still played like Crazy Kong. Donkey Kong was similar. That was probably the biggest game that was counterfeited. And I actually had 2 of them. The FBI actually picked 2 of my Crazy Kongs up from a ice cream shop. They had cased the joint, and it was, oh my gosh, Nintendo was the first company to have these machines confiscated. They ended up with warehouses. Well, they ended up with warehouses of Crazy Kongs, and it was all kinds of court cases. But excuse me, what ended up happening is they got to keep all the money that was in the machine, and you lost the machine, but nothing happened to you. So you lost the machine. They demolished the machines, but they opened up the cash pads and took the cash that was in it when they picked them up.
Holy cow.
Hey, Walt, I'm going to see if... Can you bring me my orange juice, please? I didn't even think of having something to drink while I'm talking to you guys.
I've done this before.
I usually have a thing of orange juice, but we were having some issues getting online to get the cameras hooked up.
Yeah, so we apologize for that late start, guys. We just had a little hiccup, but we got it resolved. You know, the 2 of us, what do we do for a living? We fix stuff, and we can't. And we're suffering with broken stuff.
Well, thank you, Walt. Yep. I can't. Now, this is extremely rude, but that's.
Please be comfortable. This is informal. Just be you.
So everybody knows that's me drinking and eating on camera.
Same thing. Now, Todd, his company is called TNT Amusements. They're based out of Southampton, Pennsylvania, which, interestingly, I do a show called Tech Vets. Another gentleman has his tech business. out of Drescher. It was just like 20 minutes away from here.
Very close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
But just a little bit of trivia there. You have a YouTube channel, and on your YouTube channel, I don't know, you got 800 plus videos.
We got more than that. We got over 1,600 episodes.
1,600.
One of the episodes is running behind me now.
And your videos, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel was originally designed to augment our sales. We would make a video of a game we just finished. Actually, to be honest with you, it was by accident that we ended up going with a live show. A customer said, before you bring the game out, I want to see it working. So I had a potato camera and I made a little video with it.
Yeah, I got a few of those.
Yeah, fortunately they're long gone. I never really thought of YouTube as any kind of point to sell. And my whole point was, is I would film this game and send him a video link so he could watch it. The only way for me to process it at the time, now we're talking about 2008 or 9, was to upload it to YouTube. And back then, you could have a video channel, but you were only allowed 15 minutes. That's all. Your videos they stopped at 1501 or 1502.
That's
no matter what you uploaded, that was it.
Yep.
So I would make the video, upload it to YouTube, and as unlisted, and then I sent the customer the link, and then he would watch it. Oh, I love it, or whatever. And then it went from there. And I see there's a lot of comments from Matt and Patrick and Paul and Stealth and Ricky and Terry. Hello, everybody. I just happened to look over at the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Pat behind me is trying to crack me up. Pat, I'll kill you later. Everybody knows that we're working tonight. If you can believe, it's 8:20 p.m. and I've got 5 men here working. We are just packed with customers or with orders. Oh, Patrick said he bought some 16 millimeter from me. Yes, Patrick, that was I still fiddle with 16 millimeter films. So
wow,
it's my other passion.
Is that 2 minutes per reel?
Well, no, the films are the longest 16 millimeter reel was 1 hour. So you can have up to 1 hour.
Super 8, I think, was 2 minutes.
Which one?
Super 8.
Super 8. No, you could have. They have larger reels now.
Oh.
You can actually have a 1 hour Super 8 reel now.
How big is that?
Projectors will hold it. About this big.
Wow.
Where the 16 millimeter reel is about this big, 2,300 foot is
you
one.
Have a strong arm to hold that camera up with all that film in it.
Well, I've gone through hundreds of projectors over the years, and the newest projector made is over 20 years old. So 16 millimeter is out of production forever.
There's a good reason.
Oddly enough, the last movie to be printed on 16 millimeter film was Pixar's Cars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's how long ago. There's some trivia for you.
Yeah, I was at the Consumer Electronics Show a couple years ago. Kodak was reintroducing the 16 millimeter camera. And they were promoting the heck out of it, and then it just was vaporware. It never happened, and they never spoke of it again. But
they thought there'd be a market. It's just too expensive.
I've made a few questions to ask you.
Oh, go good. I'm up for questions.
All right, and feel free to. We probably won't get through all these because otherwise I'll have you on until tomorrow afternoon. So
I'm ready. I'm always ready for more interviews. So
well, good.
Now
well,
we figured it out.
If you enjoy my interrogation and you want to come back for more, I'm absolutely thrilled, by the way, to have you here, and I really appreciate it. I can tell from watching your channel, watching your videos. Number one, you're a real business owner, because I'm a business owner. I listen to the phone calls you get, the way you handle them. I can't believe you do that live. Like, don't you worry your customers are going to hear you? Actually, go, oh my God, he just talked about me that way.
You must have heard the service call I did on the flipper.
I heard the pinball machine. You're going to move my pinball machine? I'm calling to confirm my pinball machine.
Oh, okay.
And then of course, when you hung up, you're like, I'm going to charge a witch fee or something. I think I heard. I'm like, oh my goodness. First of all, the 80s in me says, you go, right? And then you handled it where I get angry, you laughed. I get angry.
I have
So,
to.
yeah, well,
Oh,
no.
look, my 2 cents just gave you $5. There you go.
That's
Yeah, donate. See down the bottom the dollar sign. You got to hit the dollar sign, guys. Thank you for. I'm giving him thanks. I'm thanking him for you.
yeah, well, appreciate all the contributions to the channel. Thanks, guys. That's my 2 cents with 250 cents. No, 250, my 2 cents. Let's talk about what you do. The rarest game. What's the rarest game out there? Pinball or arcade? Like if you saw one, you'd be like, you got to grab it.
Well, the prices have actually gone crazy in the last year and a half. Unbelievably crazy. Record prices for games. I'll give you an example. Gottlieb Spirit. Really nice game. I did a video years ago on it. And beautiful back glass. It spun. The face moved. It was really nice. But nobody wanted it. And I had 2 of them, and I sold them for $1,000 a piece. Well, now you can get $10,000 for them.
Ooh.
Just crazy because people went bonkers to get this, and nobody wanted it at one time. Other games I've had pass through here have gone crazy in price. The Joust cocktail table. I had 2 of them when they came out. It was a disaster. It was a huge bomb for the company. Just junk. To them, commercial flop. I really should say that. Beautifully made piece of equipment, but now you can get $8 to $10,000 for them.
Is there wait a minute? How does a Joust cocktail table? You talking about a Joust pinball machine?
It's a pinball machine cocktail.
Okay,
yes, they made a cocktail pinball. They only made 400 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't have the screen flip both ways, right? If it was an arcade game and you were opposing players.
Well, actually, you played against each other. You played on opposite sides of the machine. Now, I have a video on it. I have 1,600 videos. But if you want to watch it on YouTube later tonight, just type into YouTube search window TNT Amusements Joust Pinball, and you will find the video. And we do everything on it. We show you every detail inside the cabinet, how it was built. Beautiful piece of equipment that was ignored and forgotten. Nobody gave a shit.
Now people want them.
Yes, it's a beautiful piece of equipment.
Yeah.
See, remember, something really odd happened. The business this is one of the few things in the world that had a 180. Now, what do you mean by a 180? The Joust cocktail was built to make money. It was not built to be admired. It's my game room. Look at this. Look at how beautiful the art is. No, it was built to make money in the cash pan. The guy that bought the Joust cocktail bought it for one reason only: to make money in the store. He put it in there and he got 50% or 30% or 60%, whatever he got. He got half of whatever was in there, or whatever. That was his deal. And if it didn't make any money, he had to get rid of it and get a game in there that did. So the whole key was what made the most money. So if Pac-Man made the most money, then you'd have 2 or 3 Pac-Mans in there. If that's making $100 a week and the Joust cocktail's making $6 a week, do you think the store owner wanted the Joust cocktail? Do you think the guy wanted it? No, get this piece of shit out of here and bring me something in here that makes money. And the vendor would sometimes they were returned to the distributors.
Yeah.
A lot of equipment got returned and then it got wholesaled out. Manufacturer stamped it bomb, disaster, ceased production. That was the end of it. Nobody thought another thing of it until the Renaissance happened. The Renaissance is where you guys that are watching started the Renaissance because you saw the care and the beauty of this equipment. It was commercial equipment See, nobody admires, like, let's say you buy a dishwasher and put it in your house. When it goes bad, you throw it out. You don't go, oh, isn't the beauty of the design of it? Nobody gives a shit about the dishwasher. But this is different. When your TV on the wall goes bad, you don't admire it anymore. You throw it out. See, when the pinball stopped making money, the vendors, get rid of this thing, part it out, take the boards out, and then throw it on the street or whatever. But then all these other people discovered it. Just like the home cartridges, the home games, Atari 2600s or something like that. Why would you want... People recognize now how neat they were. And they have the memories involved, playing it when they were growing up. The people want the nostalgia, and they have a room in their house that's their memory room. They want stuff in there that they used to play when they were small or little or growing up or in college.
Nostalgia.
Asteroids. Yes. Asteroids, the original 1979 Asteroids, has a picture that's absolutely high def. It's a vector beam monitor. It's like an oscilloscope at the hospital. It goes boop, boop. It creates the sharpest line and dot you can ever see. An LCD monitor can't reproduce that. So if you want the real thing, Lunar Lander is also a vector monitor. Vector went out of the Tempest. The Tempest, I always call it the Tempest. It drives my haters nuts. Oh, I got my haters. But I do that just to annoy my haters.
Is that like
the Tempest? Oh, it's not. You should see him typing on the typewriter. It's not. So anyway, the Tempest was the first color vector. I agree.
The engineering.
Go ahead. Pardon? I got a delay.
No, please continue.
Oh, okay.
Are you watching the YouTube or are you watching the StreamYard?
Oh, okay. Yes. You're right behind me.
You should be watching the StreamYard feed because the YouTube feed is the feed. So I think you're watching the wrong feed.
Well, I'm actually not watching. I'm looking at the camera. The feed is over here. So I'm kind of keeping an eye over here.
When there should be no delay when
I don't get a delay, but it seems like the your automatic volume cuts off your voice because I do it. I cut your voice off, I think.
That's permitted. That's fine. So we said, Tempest was the first color vector.
First color, the final vector game made forever was Star Wars in '83 by Atari. Now, here's something really neat. Your viewers will love this. Arcade 1-Up made a Star Wars. That's the small $500 model at the store that uses a LCD monitor. That game was copied off of my Star Wars. I sold them a Star Wars arcade, and they took all their measurements, did everything with it, and they came up with their Star Wars based on ours. So they took all the measurements with a real one, because you really have to have a real one, not prints or anything. Then you could see what you're doing, and then they built theirs based on ours. They just traded it in, and they bought a shuffle alley, a Williams 9-foot-long shuffle alley that we had restored called the Alley Cats, and that's probably going to be their next project. That's a good year away, I might add.
You know, Arcade 1-Up, I'm not a fan. They flood the market with them. The Galaga isn't like Galaga. They're all just a little off. Like, I think Replicade and Numbskull have done a wonderful job in reproducing these machines to such articulate detail. I was blown away when I found out that little Dragon's Lair has a little replica Laserdisc player and laser in it that does nothing, but they went to
the effort.
And now a guy like me, I love that. What I hate is when something calls itself Galaga or Donkey Kong, and it is not the Galaga or Donkey Kong I played in the arcade in the way that it sounds or the way that it looks. That's offensive to me. And when I look for a Galaga machine online, I see tons on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace that from a distance look like a real Galaga machine.
Yes.
They're a one-up machine that's on a little, like a laundry machine has that little step you could put it on to raise it up a little higher. And I'm like, no. I feel like you're trying to trick me. So, but Do you personally have a favorite game that you play?
Well, yes, I do, but none of your viewers have ever played it. Um, Sega Gremlin in 1979 released I thought, some of their best machines ever. And I managed to buy some. They were never popular. They never really came to fruition for them. But I have one that nobody else seems to have. I have a cocktail table Sega game called Digger, Digger, not Dig Dug, but Digger. And the game is fascinating, and two people can play at the same time interactively and together fight the crabs that are trying to kill them. And this machine is just wonderful. I bought it brand new. I only paid $500 for it because they had gotten it. They put it out to a location once, came back, it didn't make a cent because nobody could figure it out. It was one of those games that you really have to learn how to play. A four-way joystick on one side to move around the maze, and then the other joystick was a fill or dig. You dug a hole and you filled the hole. And it was virtually unseen. They had an upright. They made it as an upright. Obviously, just one person could play it. It's a lot better with two. They made a cocktail, and they made something called a trim line, which was a game that came up to your waist. It was designed to go, it was square, and the trim lines went into a bar in the place of a bar table. They had those round tables. You put this there. People could drink their drinks, put the drink on the glass, and then play the game. It was a compact machine. I never saw one. I had one upright over the years, many years ago, I guess back in, good heavens, 70, 79, 80, and I had one cocktail. I kept the cocktail in my house the whole time. So I have that. So plan to do a video one time of me playing it so you can see how great I am when I play the game. But I have a few other games in my house. I had the largest collection of Cabaret arcade games in the world. My collection was up to over 85, of which 40 were in my game room in my house.
What is a Cabaret arcade?
Cabaret is bigger than an arcade one-up. It is made out of real plywood, not balsa wood. It has the exact same electronics in it, the same commercial grade monitor, but most of the time a smaller television, a 13-inch. They're monitors, but I found one of my viewers hated it when I called them television sets. So I've decided to say that from now on. So I call them television sets just to piss him off.
Oh.
I've been pissing him off for 20 years. But 13-inch monitor had a smaller picture, but it took up all this less room. So a Cabaret would fit in the waiting area of an IHOP restaurant. You could put two of them next to each other. They were only 5 foot tall instead of 6 foot, so they didn't commandeer the space, and the restaurant owner was happy. As a matter of fact, the first and only fast food restaurant chain to allow an arcade game in it was Burger King. Burger King decided they were going to try to make money on the arcade games, and they opened up for only Cabarets. You could put 2 Cabarets into a Burger King, and that lasted 2 or 3 months, and then they said out forever. They were having troubles. They're having problems.
And that's just it. These machines needed maintenance. People banged on these machines. Yeah. I remember seeing other teenagers, particularly with a game called Track and Field. They'd take a pocket film and they would flip it to make the buttons hit faster than a human can hit them. The control board decals would be torn apart. In fact, when I bought somewhere around my 40th birthday, I wanted an actual arcade Galaga machine, and this guy was selling them, and he says, I've got this one here, and I'll sell it to you cheap. The ship won't fire till the machine gets warm. We can replace the artwork on the side. And I said, no, leave it exactly like it is. I want it the way I remember it, but the control board decals would poke into my hand. So I'm like, change out the control board decal. And I said, as far as that warming up before it'll fire, isn't there like a 60-in-1 type thing? And then there's the JAMA boards. And I'm kind of curious how you feel about those, because I know they're not 100%, but it's damn close.
They're close. Frank, could you bring over that Dragon's Lair too for me? And then the box. The multicades enter into a shady area because none of them were ever licensed. See, arcade one-ups are licensed.
Right.
And they establish a license, they have it in place, and then they start manufacturing them. If you just stick it here, yeah. I'll show them this soon.
Yeah,
anyway, see.
Do I need to go get mine?
Yeah, we'll show it. I have some interesting things to point out about it. Let me move this in here. The multicades, we call them multicades. They came around in, I'm going to say 2003, 2004. The circuit boards were available, and we started making them, but we never filmed them. So
you didn't want to get in trouble, I imagine.
Well, I would always figure they were going to chase the big guy, the guy that's on TV. And, I remember I was on broadcast TV starting in 95. We ran I was on 7 days a week at midnight on all the area channels. Yes, we were all over the place. I actually got into the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia for producing the cheapest infomercial in the country's history that ran continually and got fan club mail and all kinds. It's just unbelievable. And it was produced to sell games. Obviously, we showed the games, what's inside. We even threw a couple games off the roof for good measure. And it was very popular. The show was still remembered. People, I have it up on our channel, by the way. A lot of my old infomercial are in the TNT Amusements channel, and you don't have to fish for them because we have them in playlists. So if you want to watch our reality show attempts, we tried to make a reality show numerous times. We had a bunch of networks interested, but in the end, it would get so far up the ladder of deciding what kind of show would sell, and then somebody would say, nope, no pinball machine show here, and out it went. No, but they didn't think there was enough interest to.
I found the one that you posted online. At least there's one I found that you guys posted. I watched it all the way through, and I was ready for episode 2.
Yeah, they said it didn't have enough drama. There was not enough.
All they had to do is give you guys some booze, like Housewives of Beverly Hills. So you got a show.
Well, we did that. We added boobs and broads.
No, booze. Booze.
Well, booze too. We added cursing. We filmed sequences. We did what they call sizzle reels, test reels, right. And we added all kinds of stuff. Some stuff I was not happy with, but they said you got to get in. If you get the show approved, you can always change the direction of the show, especially if it's popular. We always thought it would be popular, at least for 8 episodes. We submitted scripts and all kinds of stuff, but it never went anywhere. So I just stayed on YouTube. So I do my own thing. I edit my own stuff. I show you what I want to show you. My YouTube channel, once again, is designed to showcase what we do and repair. And we have a bunch of tech tips videos too. But its purpose in the long run is to sell more games. And we've been very successful with that. Do you know we've sold almost 30,000 machines?
Do you know that's on my list of questions, which is how many machines in your career have you fixed? Because you fix machines, yeah. You
and
restore
a
them.
lot of games.
I don't know if are they selling any new ones? Are new ones still being made?
Very, very few. The Arcade Legends 3 is still being manufactured, but very few.
And Pinball, Stern is like the only company making.
No. There's Stern is the largest company, and they managed to produce maybe 12 to 14,000 machines a year, but we're nowhere near what it was. Do you know in 1981, 7 United States manufacturers, just the United States manufacturers, churned out 181,000 pinball machines in 1 year? That was the biggest year of production.
That's
7 manufacturers. Now, there were tons of machines being made overseas. Tato was making pinball machines. A lot of times they copied the American versions, literally copied.
They never do that today.
They Sonic in Brazil were making machines. There was a manufacturer in Italy, Zachariah. I probably pronounced that wrong. I always called it Zachariah. They made beautiful games. You can see these machines. By the way, your viewers should know, if you want to see the largest variety of pinball machines you'll ever see in your life, you got to go to the Pinball Expo in Chicago. This year, it'll be the end of October. It is a 5-day show. It starts on Wednesday and ends on Sunday. You will see machines from all around the world set up on free play. You can play them. Now you pay an admission, obviously. You stay the weekend, you can buy, or the week, you can get a discount. There's all sorts of perks there. But if you really want to see pinball, now what they're doing this year is they're adding a lot of video games to the fray, shall we say. But near where the hotel is the Galloping Ghost Arcade. It's the creme de la creme place to see the largest variety of arcade video games you'll ever see in the rest of your life.
And that's just a regular business in Chicago?
Regular business. Doc Mack runs it. He has weekly Twitter broadcasts. He's also on Facebook. So it's called Galloping Ghost. It's in Chicago.
We have one here that's reminiscent of the size of arcade.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to when I was a teenager, and it's in the eastern side of Phoenix. It's a good 45-minute drive for me. It's called Starfighters Arcade, and they've got 1980s record albums on the wall. They've got little figures from Star Wars and Ultraman and Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. They have a phone booth from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They've got projectors playing 1980s movies on the wall. They've got over 100 pinball machines and over 100 arcade machines. Plus they swap them out. They've got so many they can't. This is in an industrial park where it's next to the Mesa Falcon Field Airport, in an industrial park, and they're only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for about 4 hours a day. And it's one of those, pay $11 and play all you want. They have pinball tournaments. This brings back so much fun, but they sadly post on Facebook other large arcades around the country that have closed up and filed for bankruptcy. And
the COVID hurt a lot of people.
But on the other hand, it helped in some businesses. Like my career in IT shot through the roof. And I imagine a lot of people, I'm going to suspect, bought arcade machines because they're home now. Would you guys get busier than ever because of people staying
yes. Home? Oh, yes. We had our best January, February, March, and April of all time. Now, May was off. But June, I don't know what June is until I do the sales tax tomorrow. So the 20th of the month is the big month. And that's when everything gets added up and I figure out how much money we took in. So then I have to pay the Pennsylvania and the Jersey sales tax. Ooh, I hate paying tax. But baby, you got to pay it.
Listen, if you're paying a lot of tax, that means you made a lot of money, though.
Well, the sales tax is their money. It's based on the money you gross with your item. But see, I don't have to collect tax when I do a lot of the out-of-state sales because there's a maximum. You have to hit a minimum sail out of state. But the arcade, the Starfighters, sounds like a great place. And my goodness, they picked up that's the perfect name, because I'm sure it was picked because of the wonderful movie The Last Starfighter.
Yeah,
which is one of my favorites.
I think it's two guys, and I'm going to interview them, but I think it's two guys that just were collectors, and they know somebody who has the rare art of knowing how to fix pinball machines. And they said, it's a shame we don't share this with people. Let people enjoy this. And I will interview them, but I suspect, I think I read somewhere that it's just these guys that just sort of made a man cave and said, people need to enjoy these. They're meant to be played. And they have a person that has the rare skill of fixing pinball machines and fixing arcade machines and where they're getting parts anymore, which leads me to like 10 million more questions on how you found anybody who knows how to fix these machines. It leads me to wonder, in my business, they're always telling us IT is dead. Don't go into the ID field. There's no work anymore. And I'm saying all these people are nuts. They're building 300 new computers every single year. Every year, there's 300 more new PCs than there was the year before. So to say this IT field is dead is preposterous. It's defying reality. But yet, you already told me they're not making any more arcade games for the most part. There's only a few pinball manufacturers left. So if you knew then what you know now, would you still be doing what you're doing today?
My wife asked me that all the time. By the way, speaking of IT parts, if you look at the screen behind me, you can see that I'm cleaning a circuit board, a video game circuit board with Simple Green.
Yeah.
And you slosh it around, you get the board all nice and clean, you wash it off with warm water, you put it in front of a fan and dry it. That's how you clean it. The water doesn't hurt the circuit boards.
No, I've got a video where I wash a motherboard in the sink.
That's right.
Just to make a point. People freak out. People freak out in my community. They freak out about three things: how you apply thermal compound, what's the temperature of my CPU at any given moment, who cares, and electrostatic discharge, the ghost that damages your components. Now, you've rolled your eyes. What are your thoughts? You haven't even answered my last question. I can't help myself. I got a million questions. I don't see you wearing electrostatic shock. Okay. I see you opening up boards and you touch stuff and you go, these are the sound chips, and this is the isolated transformer for the monitor. Look at how he's holding this board, ladies and gentlemen. Look what he's doing. And by the way, Steve Wozniak held an original Apple II board exactly the way or it was an original Apple board. And he's the guy who invented it. So let's talk about how fragile are the things. And aren't you worried about electrostatic discharge? Tell me your thoughts, sir.
Zero.
Do you give it any thought? Do you have electrostatic straps anywhere in the office?
No.
How many times have you damaged a component from electrostatic discharge?
Never, but I've only handled 20,000 boards.
Oh, so, the jury's still out on that.
Matter of fact, Big Joe is here now. He fixes a lot of our boards. Joe, how many connections or electrostatic precautions do you take at your shop since you started fixing boards in '77?
I don't take any personally. Back in the day, Gottlieb used to make us send the boards out in the mail. They gave us anti-static.
That's right. He's right. Gottlieb would send an anti-static bag that you ship the board out in the game, and they actually enclosed it in the game when they sold you. You had to slide it into the bag and send it to them. Okay, when I get those little bags, I throw them out. And then you can't do that. You throw them out.
You're a rebel.
It's like, no, I've never had a problem. Oh, if you don't have a label on top of the window in the ROM, you'll erase the chip. Oh, you know what? I can tell you, I've erased so many. Here's all the chips I've erased over the last 40 years. None.
You're holding them in the palm of your hand right now. Here's how many you've got them. You love it. I love it. So a lot of people live on theory. They don't live in reality. So you experience that too. So Do arcade games ever have a problem with overheating? I noticed there's no cooling fans in them.
The cooling fans. You know what cooling fans do? Let me tell you what cooling fans do.
Please.
You bring all this shit dirt in the game.
They move
That's
air.
what they do.
Don't cool air. They move air.
That's right. And they bring all this crud inside the game.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you what I will do. If I buy a computer power supply and it has a fan in it, that's fine. Okay? When we sell a game, we put a brand new computer power supply in. Okay, we do not dick around with the used ones. I sell the used one if it works. Before I sell it, I take our pressure hose and blow all the crud out.
Mm-hmm.
When we get a game traded in, let's say an Atari Marble Madness, they had a fan in the back. The fan, if it surprisingly is still turning, even though it's caked with crud, I throw it out. I have a grill there. So when the game goes out the door here, there are no fans present unless they're in the power supply. It's the only time they stay, when they're brand new and in the power supply. Now, I will add this. If the game has a fan on top of the processor, like the Mega Touches did, because the Mega Touches ran so hot, you could actually cook a steak dinner on it. I mean, it was hot. There are four fans in a Mega Touch machine, the touchscreen games. I make sure they're all running, yes, because the game runs so hot.
Yeah.
So we take the fans out, replace them with new ones. See, that's different.
Yeah.
A Star Wars pinball machine that had a real computer in it, that had a processor fan, we put a new processor fan in it.
Here's how I fix it.
Go ahead.
Right here. This is what I do. When customers bring me their dusty computers that have been collecting, for years. This bad boy right here, battery operated, take it outside, 30 seconds, good as new.
That's right.
But what I can tell you,
air hose, yeah.
What I admire when I watch your videos, I don't have the depth of knowledge you have. That circuit board level, I don't have it. And normally when you see a business owner, they understand the business, not necessarily the work. So when I see you and you're identifying, this is the sound chip, this board over here does this board over there, that I know, even though perhaps you've got other guys, I guess, doing the work,
okay,
you know that they're doing the job correctly, the way you want it done, I presume. And furthermore, I love that you guys make it better than it was. I love how you talk about how you swapped out. First of all, I love how you talk in tech as though everybody knows what the hell you're talking about. You swapped out some memory chips for some 4117s. We got them hanging on the back of the door. I don't remember what the number was.
Actually, that was Stargate or Robotron. You did. And you got it almost right. They're 4114s.
I was close. 4114s. And if those 44 bulbs, he doesn't mean he's got 44 bulbs. But the number 44 model bulb, if that short circuits, you got to put the 1 amp fuse because we're using a PC power supply with an isolated transformer for the monitor. And I'm hitting pause so I can explain all of this, because you talk about it as though it's common knowledge. And I have so much respect for how casually you are discussing highly technical things, and the fact that you guys go through the effort to make it bulletproof. You make the machines in the same way that I fix computers. I don't want it coming back, which is a wonderful business model. I should have something fail, like, built-in obsolescence to just generate more work. But thankfully, there's enough computers out there. I don't have to do that. But this idea that you go through it with a fine-tooth comb, every wire. You talk about replacing connectors that had 3 connecting points instead of just 1, so the connector's not likely going to come off. These aren't portable machines. Nobody's moving it around, but yet you go through that effort to improve it, to ensure, even though that wasn't likely to occur, it's 3 times less likely to occur when you're done. Who does this? I love that attention to detail. I love that passion. And I know I was getting off of my initial question I was asking, which was, I have to go back to my notes here. When the machines are done, I know what I want to ask. When the
Right.
machines are done, do you play them to test them?
Well, you have to. You
Do you do it? You personally?
there's two of us now. Kurt, who's been with me the longest, he's been here since '83. Kurt will. I ask him to be the final check because he picks up stuff too. We'll do an initial check to make sure every switch is working, and then I'll say we need to move this, we need to move that. Then Kurt will go through it, and then he'll always find something. 2 or 3 things. Now, listen, make no mistake, we're not walking on water here, but when the game goes out, we're pretty sure we hit every possible detail, and we think it's going to hold up for a long time in a private home. Now, if it's going to go into a location where it's going to be hammered 7 days a week, it's going to break down. Brand new stuff breaks down a week later, 2 weeks later, you're out there fixing something.
Mm-hmm.
A brand new rubber you put on a pinball machine can snap for no reason. A brand new flipper paddle, the plastic could just break, just a manufacturing error, and it's even though it's brand new. So you're still going to have trouble because you've got a steel ball crashing into stuff all around the playfield. And being ejaculated, I love to say that, ejaculated from one hole to another, jumping around, hitting targets. Yeah, so you're just going to have it. Video games are less likely to give you trouble, but certain games they manufactured were flawed from day one. Poor monitor design on certain models. If you watch regular videos, there are certain monitors I hate. The Hanorex. I call them Hana crap. And
Because of their failure rates?
It's junk. They're just junk. They always broke down, always had trouble. They had a nice picture when they ran, but who gives a shit, you know? So the other problem is there was another one called Mitsubishi. It's a horrible, horrible monitor. And the monitor ran the picture tube at full throttle. Sort of like if you got in your car and you pressed the gas pedal all the way down flat and you just ran it full, it just blew the monitors up. Just awful, horrible design. And we just carry them right out and recycle them. You know, we've gone through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of monitors. We try to keep the picture tubes if there's no burn-in. We try to keep the chassis. But every week we dispose of 10 to 15 monitors that are unfixable or they got heavy burn-in. I mean, you don't want to buy a game that has the maze in there from a whole different game. And we get games traded in here all the time that have all kinds of awful things done to them, just to get them going again.
Oh, I was so ticked off when I saw that you were fixing a Qbert machine where somebody took out the knocker. You don't take out the knocker. Who does that?
It probably blew up.
How to fix it, but leave it in. Somebody who does know how to fix it later doesn't have to source that part.
Right, and they probably had a part problem with it, and so we put the knocker back in.
Yeah, but they could have left. They could have just bypassed the knocker. They didn't have to physically remove it.
People did that though. But then Qbert, remember, a third of the Qberts that are still left in the world weren't Qberts. They were other Gottlieb games that were duds, and they were converted to Qberts because the harness was almost identical.
So I noticed in the arcade, you'd often see burn-in from a previous game.
That's right.
And the reason I was told that they did that was, let's say you got a moneymaker. Let's say Galaga's bringing in the quarters and the Galaga monitor goes out. So your local repair guy would take a monitor, a working monitor, out of a machine that's not bringing in the money, and put it in the Galaga. So it became a parts donor.
That's right. You robbed Peter to pay Paul, basically. You tried to keep the game that was making the big money going as much as you could. And that's what people did. We do it frequently. As a matter of fact, if you watch a lot of our videos, you can see us combining games.
Well, let me just interrupt for a second. I have to grab the battery charger, but keep talking.
Oh, sure. We didn't lose the sound, right?
No,
I know a lot of people. I see a lot of people have been sending. There's been money to send there. Ricky says, I used to fix pinball machines, jukeboxes back in Susquehanna, PA. You moved to California, and you did the Neon and the Last Starfighter. Very great. That was such a good movie, and that was a really neat game that they built. I'm glad you had part of that. A bunch of people have been doing stuff. John's Arcade has done a few vids on. Oh, he does a lot of videos. There's a lot of great channels out there that you can tune into. Doc Mack has one at the Galloping Ghost, of course, but then you have Jason Kopp that shows you all the rare vector games. Arcade Hollywood does wonderful videos about collecting and also how to build your own arcade building to put them in. He just put that video up. John's Jukes has a whole series of videos. Joe's Classic Video Games does detailed technical videos that are a lot more involved than mine. So you really got to catch up with Delusional's Arcade. There's a lot of arcade video channels for all of you to learn. Of course, I'd rather have you watch me.
Yeah, and you're great to watch. I love watching you, by the way. I love how your interaction with your employees is absolutely fantastic. I want to come work with you so you can poke me in the eyes. Do the virtual poke. Let's really quickly, because we're running up on an hour here, and I will selfishly consume your entire day if you let me. So we'll try.
Don't do that. Did you get your hoagie, by the way?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
We'll try and keep this at an hour, and I'm going to just look at the chat here.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Joe is going to be moving into our shop in our repair division where we fix our circuit boards, and we're really excited. He had his own separate shop, and now we're combining him into the orifices here at TNT. So we're absorbing Joe into the gigantousness of TNT.
I love when I see your shop on camera.
Oh, what?
You can tell you've been there a long time. I don't know how you find it.
I don't know either. You can see behind me circuit boards. We're actually selling a lot of stuff on our weekly auctions. So we've been running them. We have 1,000 things up on eBay at all times. We do bargain basement videos to get rid of the stuff. If you want to play around, listen, anybody can fix this stuff. You don't have to have an oscilloscope. The only tools you'll need is the common screwdrivers, nut drivers, and a multimeter is really a must, so you can measure voltages. You can also measure diodes. But the common person can easily learn how to fix these games because most of them use common components. The video games are a little more unique because they have different circuit boards for each game. But pinball machines generally use a system of the same boards for 10 years. Then they change the circuit boards in another 10 years. So all the shuffle bowling alleys you folks see me fix, there's 14 models. The first 7 use an earlier board system, and the last 7 use another board system. They're the same boards that are in a pinball machine. And anybody can learn. It's common sense repairs. You don't have to know if the Pac-Man doesn't move up, and with your meter, you have a through signal. In other words, you have not a broken wire between the logic board edge connector and the joystick handle. So that wire is good. That connection is good. The problem has to be on the circuit board. You simply go from the edge of the circuit board and you trace where it goes.
You follow it.
It goes to this chip, usually a little 14-pin chip or a 12-pin chip. And the chip's probably bad. You don't have to test it.
Just replace it.
Replace it. So you learn how to solder with a solder station. You learn how to solder. If you're looking at the video screen in the back, it's another one of my videos running. I use a lot of clips from other films and things just to keep them moving, keep them interesting.
I love it when you green screen yourself into stuff. That's fantastic.
Well, I'm good at green screening.
And sitting with the glasses in the chair reading the letters is fantastic. That's good stuff.
You have no idea the thousands of emails I've gotten, and I've printed many of them, the real funny ones and the insane ones. There's a lot of insane people out
I
there.
love that you share that with us because
Well, you have to be part of the horror.
So you brought out one of these Dragon's Lairs.
Oh yes, I have done a very extensive review that is going to be published in the next week or two, showing you everything about this wonderful, marvelous piece of equipment. Unfortunately, I think it's sold out. But
Yeah, $400 on eBay.
Well, they used to be $199.
Yeah, rub it in.
I take this apart. I'm the only one that takes them apart.
I wouldn't take this apart.
I've done these replicates. I've done it to every replicate we've gotten. We open them up, and I show you how beautifully built it is. This is heavy.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is the time, because Hubert is coming out, and this is your one and only chance now. If you go to the Replicate website, you can pre-order the thing, because, baby, it's going to be worth double what they're selling it for within 6 months.
Yeah, and we're not affiliated with those folks. We don't have any.
Oh, no, nothing.
Money. But yes, there's two versions of Qubit. The Warren Davis version, where he's the developer who had a prototype machine that nobody would ever know existed, except there it is. I love that. It's so stupid. I love it. That is such a stupid thing.
It's such a nice effect.
Oh my gosh, the attention to detail just tickles.
Now, do you see these connections here?
Yeah,
that's show you in our video. You can hook them up to your big screen. See the TV behind me?
Yep.
You can play Dragon's Lair on that giant screen.
Yeah, but it looks like crap because it's an SD video, and you're putting it on an HD.
No, I disagree. It looks pretty good. I'm sorry.
But
we can agree to disagree.
It's still awesome.
It is. Let me tell you, if you want something as an investment, just buy these things.
Yeah.
They will never devalue.
Not like the one-up arcade.
Nice case.
They flooded the market with the one-ups.
The extras come with these little decals, okay?
And tiny quarters, right?
Yes, it comes with quarters.
And it came with a little 25-cent keychain, right?
It does. It's in a really nice box.
Yeah.
$200. A bargain.
Yes, I agree. It's a steal.
And it's worth $400. It'll be worth $600.
You and I can really appreciate the evolution of technology. That took up a box 6 feet tall, weighed 350 pounds probably, and now they can replicate it nearly at 100% of detail. It's something that you can hold in one.
It's almost perfect.
The LED green, because they didn't have the overlay technology. So your screen counter is the red LEDs over or not LEDs, LCDs.
I forgot to charge this. I should have had this charged. I didn't know you were going to talk about it. Otherwise I had it ready. But make sure you subscribe to my channel, just like you've subscribed to Carrie's channel, I hope.
Definitely subscribe to his channel. I've got a link to your channel in my video notes. And just really, really quickly, let's just look at the chat room, and then we'll.
Let's look. I see that. Let me ask: we don't do jukeboxes anymore? No.
How about simulators, like flight simulators? Any moving machines like Space Harrier?
I would love to, but I'll be honest with you. I have so much stuff in my shop. I could, without taking on another project, I have enough stuff through Christmas. I can't take on any more projects. And the big flying games, the big problem with Space Harrier is a beautiful game. By the way, if you want to see the rarest big giant Sega games, the biggest collection in the world is right over the Rainbow Bridge into Canada, in Toronto. It's at the right next to Niagara Falls. The tower there. Oh my gosh, right out of my head. I have a video showing it. Pardon?
The CN Tower?
No, it's a Frank. What's the arcade up in Canada that has all the Sega pieces? Yeah, I have a video up. Isn't that awful? I just don't remember the video name.
The Rec Room?
I'll actually here. Let me do here. TNT. I'll show you right now on the big screen.
At 80.
So you go on the YouTube channel TNT Amusements. I'll be all right. And I'm looking through a microphone to type this. Canada. Let's see here. We had a lot of Canadian visitors. You know what? I know it's in the Western film show. I know what it was. The Skylon Tower. That's what it was. The Skylon Tower. You can see there's a boatload of videos here. We have so many, over 1,600. I cover pretty much every possible era that you could think of. We even green screen Star Wars. So I'm pretty sure
the Skylon Tower was the CN Tower.
Okay,
I
that's
visited that
possible.
in 1978 on a field trip when I used to live in Detroit.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, real quickly, in the chat room, I just want to mention, let's see, the Dodge Whisperer says, Kerry, this guy is super cool. Glad I caught it live. It's a good taste. Let's see.
Oh, by the way, Scott gave you $50. He brings back the memories in the 80s of my days as a game tech. Hey, Scott, join us too when we do our live videos. We'd love to have you there.
Christopher says, does TNT Amusement take in a lot of old analog TVs?
Interesting you ask that. The 19-inch picture tube TVs, not the ones that were squared off, but the more corner ones, exact same tube. If the TV was manufactured between 77 and 84, 85, it's the same picture tube that the arcade games took.
Same CRT.
So you could take the picture tube out of the set, and then you could recycle the chassis. We recycle hundreds and hundreds of monitors a year, hundreds of them. We also recycle wiring harnesses, the steel inside the cabinets, the cash door, the bent cash pans, the bent legs, whatever. We are big on recycling here, especially the electronics. So the stuff does not go into a landfill. So
you're not quick to change out CRTs with the LED screens?
Oh, no.
I know a lot of arcade places do that, and I'm like,
well, you have to no.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, but we can 19-inch monitors are not a problem if you use Wells Garner or Electrohome or the Sanyos that were in the Nintendos. They're the only 3 monitor chassis that are worth rebuilding. Oh, I'm going to hear a lot on that, but the other monitors are junk. Now, I guess in fairness, they're 40 years old, but the ones coming from China are garbage. Now, in 2004, the government ruled it was illegal to manufacture picture tubes. And then there was hoopla. They said you couldn't manufacture any picture tubes if they were bigger than 25 inches. So Wells Garner came out with the old 24.5 picture tube. It wasn't quite 25 inches. They got around that law. And finally, picture tubes were ruled illegal to be manufactured in the United States almost 20 years ago. But President Trump, his last year in office, made it legal to make them again. If you want to build a picture tube in the United States, you go right ahead.
Yeah, now, sure.
So now they can make it.
Paul Baxter, Todd, where's Frank?
Frank, come over here real quick.
Todd, do you still have the hourglass? You have this much time. That's what Christopher Ritchie wants to know.
I do have the hourglass.
We're cutting the Chicky and Pete's time.
Yes, we're going to Chicky and Pete's any minute. Here, Frank, come over here. Frank is going in for an operation tomorrow.
Oh,
here, move over here. He is going in. He's going to be
like a delay. Which camera?
That one.
Must be a delay.
Yeah, there is. Here, bend down a little bit.
he's looking at the YouTube feed instead of looking at the StreamYard.
No, I'm just seeing what. Oh, you're on the YouTube. Oh,
Move
there
over
it
a
is.
little bit. There's
Yep.
Frank. Bend down a little
Frank.
more.
Hey, what's going on?
So Frank
Everybody in the
is
chat
here,
saying hello.
but he won't be here for. Well, tonight we're going to go out to Chicky and Pete's and stuff ourselves. I'm going to stuff him.
With food.
Well, with food, of course.
Well, not other stuff you might be thinking of.
Oh, Frank.
That's right, because you have to not eat for a certain 10 hours or something before surgery, right?
Yeah, before midnight. After midnight.
After midnight, so we're going to stuff him early. It's
But that's
9:30.
until Wednesday.
Yeah,
Take
but
it
he
off
has to
tomorrow,
take
spend
off
the day with
tomorrow.
the
Well, I
kids.
hope it's nothing too serious. And
Been there, done that. No big deal.
oh, okay. Well,
Okay, Marilena is sending you healings your way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, this is my Franklin.
Don't touch my face.
Well, I almost did. Now, Frank is the one behind all the puns and wisecrack. Oh, listen, you'll be the first to know your channel, because we haven't publicized this yet. Frank and I are going to be doing a seminar on how to buy a pinball machine, like from somebody else. What to look for.
Yeah, first of all, don't call TNT.
Don't
Don't
Frank.
call 953-88.
Oh, that's no. We're
Hello,
gonna
everybody.
we're gonna tell everybody how awful everybody else is. No, we're not. But we're going to do a seminar at the Pinball Expo in Chicago. That'll be the first time. We'll be presenting it a second time at the Pintastic Show on the other side of the country in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. So you got to come and see the two of us interact, curse, and scream, and well,
Say shit. And
we can't say that because he's live. Yeah, but he doesn't want to get blooped.
Hey, you asked me to be in here. It's what you get.
No, we have to keep things clean. We have to keep things clean for Carrie.
Sorry. Ooh.
We've been getting a lot. Do you hear this? Just constant
Hello.
abuse. Constant
we
abuse.
just like to keep it real. That's okay.
Oh, I'll keep it real.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Ricky B contributed $5 earlier. He says, Todd, I used to fix pinball machines, jukeboxes, etc. back in Susquehanna, Pennsylvania.
Yes, I read that. Yeah, you weren't listening. I read that already.
Oh, my bad.
And they're not jukeboxes. They're record players.
Record.
Oh, God. That you should see them. They're not record players.
What's the difference between a jukebox and a record player? 25 cents?
The only thing different is that it pisses off a couple of my viewers. That's
You mean
all.
so if I say Ricky B contributed $5, he says, Todd, I used to fix pinball machine, then that upsets you. I should read it again.
No. If I said record player instead of jukebox, it'd be different.
No, but I just never mind. Okay, so we scroll down a little bit here. We'll get through these real quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Hey, Paul.
Scott Isaac says, enjoying the video. Todd is very funny. He brings back memories of the days in the 80s when I was a game
I
tag.
don't know you very well.
Oh, you have to have fun. I'm 65 years old.
Hey, you know how to become a millionaire selling pinball machines?
How?
You start as a billionaire.
Oh,
Bump.
Real knee slapper.
And Scott's the one who contributed the $50. Hey, Scott, thank you.
thank you, Scott. That was very good of you. Carrie is not going to share it with me, though.
Oh,
But we'll
sure,
think of you
I'll share it.
tonight at Chicky and Pete's. We usually go to Applebee's, but we're going to go there. Say that he did the call.
Yeah.
Matt says, "LOL, record players." Yes.
Just like the pinball or the video games or the television
The
set.
television set. I already went through that. They love the
Seller.
television set. Yeah. How can you get the Defender? Well, I do that too. That pisses people off too. You're going to go with us, Joe, aren't you? We're almost done.
Muller Medic says, Todd is amazing. His videos are great. Bags. I don't know what that means.
You need to watch my bags video.
That's about
Yes, I
3
guess
years
I
ago,
missed
4 years ago.
Yes. Then you will
All right,
understand
everybody,
bags.
thank you. I got to pack up the stuff.
He's got to pack up because
Hey, Mike, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Yeah, you
Thanks for
too.
the well wishes, everybody. Appreciate it.
that was very good, Frank. They love you, Frank. We always you do. Oh, Carrie, you've already got 8 thumbs down.
Well, that's okay.
God, it's
As
great.
long as I get a reaction.
Listen, right now, just everybody watching, please do this. Just go down and give Carrie a thumbs up, please. Come
On
on, it's
screen.
139. I want to see that number grow before we go off the air. That good. We're up to 143. Hit the thumbs down. Whoever gave the thumbs down, Carrie, I'm afraid they're people that just hate me.
I might have done that by mistake.
Oh God, we got 10 now. 10 thumbs down.
Best not to discuss it.
Oh, but we got 161 thumbs up.
Technically, it's the thumbs down.
The thumbs.
I think that pretty much runs through. Michael Dane. Michael Dane's a frequent member, a contributor here, a member of our community. He's the man. That's who Michael
thumbs up. Yeah,
he's the man. He contributed $5. He says he was also a game repair tech back in the 1980s, and yeah, that seems like there's a lot of used to be. Not too many people saying they currently do that.
No, it's kind of it's a dying art, but the classic arcades, because of arcade one-ups, because of them,
yeah,
the collecting market has increased. The demand for classic, the real thing, has increased, and the number of arcades out there, the flat rate arcades, which I always said for 30 years were the future, pay one rate and play anything you want, have increased. So the arcade one-ups and the virtual pinball machines, they're the pinball machines that play a lot of different games using a television set on the play field, and you flip the flippers. That has helped the collectors, the collecting industry. Now, some of the collectors are pissed off because they say it's also driven the price up. Tough.
Isn't that what a collector wants? When you collect something, don't you want the price of that to go up? So for everyone,
but after they buy it, not before they buy it.
Well, it doesn't matter as long as it goes up. What difference does it make?
That's true.
All right, listen. I really, again, thank you so much for humoring me, and
I'd love to come back. We put some more questions together. Do you know? I don't know if you knew this, Carrie. I actually have a video of two 4-hour videos where I address everybody's questions.
Frequently asked questions.
Todd answers your questions, part 1 and 2. They're up on our channel. If you want to hear all kinds of really neat details and stories and things, anything on our channel. Good. Thank you for having me on board, young man.
Well, thank you for calling me young man. I don't hear that very often. And then in the video notes, we've got a link to TNT Amusements.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to them. Check out their content. There's a lot of variety, a lot of different stuff. Check out their pilot episode of the reality show. It's absolutely worth watching.
I thought it was fun.
I really want episode 2.
And Carrie, guess what? Everything in the pilot episode was the absolute god darnest truth. We didn't make anything up in it. It was all the real thing, but it wasn't considered exciting enough. So,
well, I enjoyed it. The Seawolf guy, I want a perfect Seawolf. I don't have any money, but it's got to be perfect. I want you to bring it down my stairs. I got
Primo.
Some boosters. They're mint condition. They're folded. Some people like them rolled, but they're folded.
He was so nuts.
I loved it. And the fact that you still had it. What's wrong with you? Why are you saving
technology that old? I did.
I love it. I absolutely love that you saved that and you were able to share it, because you couldn't have shared it back then like you can today. Who knew? Good thinking. And I'm sure there's more where that came from. So if you want to see more of Todd Tuckey, learn more about the arcade repair and refurbishing business and pinball and jukeboxes and all that, they show all of that. And you might see some arcade games that you've completely forgotten about, like Seawolf. And it's very nostalgic for those of us who, grew up in that era, or for those of us that used to do this kind of work. And it's absolutely free, zero charge to watch the videos. Check them out. And of course, if you're looking for an arcade or pinball machine and you want to make sure it's done right, you're not buying somebody else's piece of crap, but they've fixed somebody else's piece of crap and are selling it. When I move back to Michigan, I'm going to be getting a Moon Patrol. I know. So what do you call them? Dreamers? The people that say that they're going to get this, get it for me, make sure it's going to be perfect, and then you go through the effort, and then they never show up.
Yes, I've had many dreamers, but then again, I've got over 14,000 customers that actually spent money with me.
Yeah,
so I can't complain.
You're still here. You're still doing it. You must be.
I got money for you. Good night, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we'll have you back. And again, links for the website if you want to buy a machine, or for the YouTube channel, if you want to watch the videos, are in the links below the video. Todd, Frank, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll look forward
You got it.
to having you back.
Can't wait for the next episode. Thanks. Good
Bye.
night.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. My thanks again to Todd Tuckey for joining us over at TNT Amusements. I want his job. I just want to work in a place where I get to fix pinball machines and arcade machines. And I want to be the quality control test guy. I'll see you again very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.